How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dave and we have got the first piece of gameplay for FM 2020 on the channel. As you can see alongside me today, I've got Joe, also known as Friday Night FM. Joe, how's it going, man?
Very good, Dave, very good. Glad to be here helping you out, mate.
Good, man. Many of you may have seen the video a couple of weeks ago with my plans for Football Manager 20. I wanted to do loads of collaborations, and this is just the start of that. You may hear me and Joe on the 5-Star Potential podcast every Monday or every week as Football Manager podcast, which you can find in the description down below. But me and Joe had the absolute pleasure of being invited to Sport Interactive to have early access and play Football Manager 2020. So we're going to be talking about that experience today, giving our thoughts on the weekend overall, giving our thoughts on the new headline features, and alongside the video as well, we're going to be having some gameplay and videos of all of those features that we are going to be talking about today. So Joe, first of all, obviously it was your sort of first experience of one of the early access weekends. How did you sort of find it overall, and your enjoyment of the game overall as well?
As a wise man once said, #humble. It was a humbling experience to be invited. Obviously, being part of the 5-Star Potential podcast. We've had Tom and Dom on, so I'm pretty sure that's why we got an invite. But it was good. I mean, it's good to see where the magic happens.
Yep.
You'll know from the first time that you went when it was at Old Street. It's a bit awe-inspiring. Like you're going and you're seeing where the game that you play for hours and hours and hours literally gets made from design through to implementation and discussed, and it's just a great place. If you ever get the chance to go and visit it, you have to go.
Yeah, and I mean, you could appreciate how hard, I'm sure you could have appreciated before you went anywhere, how hard these guys actually work to give us a fantastic game every year as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we all know that a lot of work obviously goes into it, but I think you don't get a true understanding until you actually visit the studio and you see. It's not necessarily seeing people work, because we didn't see that many people there.
Yeah.
But when you speak to them and you understand that actually what they want to do is make the game the best they can. So when and you listen to some of the things, the feedback that they get, where it's like, fix the game. Okay, well, give us some specifics.
Yeah.
We want to know
Yeah.
exactly what you mean by fix the game. The more information that you can give us, the more PKM files, the more descriptive you can be, they will try and fix it. It's they're passionate about making the game the best it can be, because they all play the game once it's been released.
Yeah. Yeah, well, following on from that as well, all of the footage in today's video that you're going to be seeing was captured at the early access event. So it was on a really early build of the game. Of course, this is a build that is going to be before beta access, so you may come across things that will change, or maybe it isn't quite sharpened up just yet. But if you do get the beta access, especially after watching this video, be sure to, if you've ever got a problem with the game or something that you feel can be improved or you're not too happy with, the chances are someone is in the same boat as you. So make sure you go and check out the forums and put your little issues on there as well. So we're going to be moving on to the first little feature today, and Joe, it's the one where you first load up your save. It's the Club Vision. Of course, this was a big headline feature, your Club Vision and your 5-year plan. You'll see some of the footage of that across the screen right now. I mean, I think plenty of Football Manager gamers will appreciate this, because I think it almost creates that sort of narrative for a long-term save before you've even clicked continue.
Well, that's the thing, is you see it. The introduction to the boardroom, obviously that's the first thing you see that's different, but you get smacked with the Club Vision as like the first or second slide that you get, or the first or second kind of hit of continue that you get. Yeah. And it's going to be a big part of the game, and how you play the game is going to be based around what you've selected, what the board have asked you to do in that 5-year plan. Now, obviously we've had very early access to it. We didn't get a lot of hours to kind of capture everything that we wanted, but it certainly strikes me as that it's going to be a brilliant way to play the game, especially if you're a long-term player of the game. You'll be able to change things, add things, request things, remove things, and obviously the better you are, the more likely you are to have your requests kind of acknowledged and accepted possibly. if you're a bigger club, the likelihood is they're going to want to be ambitious, so they're going to put you some targets in there. And if you've got a less ambitious club, it might just be all we want to do is survive. So there's a great span of options in there, and I think the way you can challenge yourself, the board will challenge you, but I think you can add extra difficulties in there. You can also try and remove things to just make it how you want to play the game, or how you want the narrative of your save to be. So, as I say, it hits you in the face straight away. It's quite a lot to take on board.
Yeah.
But I think once you've actually got through it, then you can move on, and it's something that you can refer to. Like literally everything you do, you can just refer back to it and see how the board are judging you.
Yeah, well, you get graded on certain things as well. So obviously cup competitions and so on, you get graded, you get thumbs up and thumbs down as well. So it just gives you a good indication straight away with how you're doing at a particular, at a club, or a particular sort of aspect of your club as well. So I think it is a very welcome addition to the game. As you say, we had pretty limited game time, so I know a few people, Mr. Fox in the Box in particular, spent a good hour or so trying to, looking at it and checking out all the different features of it. But we sort of wanted to crack on with the game and so on. But I think this will be a huge feature, and it will be interesting to see how it affects saves, not just right at the start of the game, but throughout a save as well. If it's going to affect people's jobs, which I think it definitely will. If it will help people in their jobs again, which I think it may happen, and what will happen in the long run with this sort of feature as well. So I think to kick off as a great headline feature, and it's something that sort of smacks you in the face as soon as you load up the save, alongside all the club background history with a little boardroom behind it as well. I mean, those little features there, Joe, like the boardroom and stuff, and even the home screen with the locker room, they're just nice little changes that just make the game look a little bit cleaner, don't they?
And I think that's it. It just, obviously they have to change something, and like we've spoke about it a lot of times, where Football Manager is Football Manager. It's, how much more can they do? So little things like that, and the boardroom, I'm led to believe, scales up and down. So if you are lower league, the boardroom will be reflective of the club you're at, and as you're higher up, obviously the better the boardroom becomes. So at the moment, I haven't gone lower league, so it'd be interesting to see if that's right. I'm going to say I'm 95% sure that Tom mentioned that it does scale up and down depending on the club size. But it's something completely different. We're definitely used to, of the last 2 or 3, where you'll start the game and you're pretty much in your inbox to start with. Whereas this, you're welcome to the club. There's a bit of fanfare about it, and it's just a little bit different. It makes you think about what you need to do before just being straight in that inbox and you're back like Groundhog Day into a Football Manager save.
Yep. We'll move on now to probably arguably the second biggest, or what some people are looking forward to the most, the development centre. So of course that was a new feature added to the game, and it was a way to sort of collate quite a number of little pieces of information together. So your reserves, or your under 23s and under 18s, are all located in here now, and of course all the players that are currently out on loan, or players that also that the board or certain members of staff rather. Players that may be in the under 23s that they believe could make the step up to the first team as well. Joe, I'm sure you had a little bit of a play with the development centre, but I think for someone like yourself, you like at times to sort of develop those youth players. I think this was another welcome addition.
My first initial thoughts when they released this on Twitter was that it was going to be a lot of features that we already had grouped together and put into one place. Yeah. And when you start the game, there's not a lot there. As they've said, this game is more about longevity. So in the blog post that I've released on WeStreamFM.com, I talk about, the more you put in, the more you're going to get out long term. Yeah. So especially with development centre, I'm someone that has always had like a notepad next to me, and I'll always be jotting down where my youth team players are. Am I sending them out on loan? Am I sending them out for experience? Am I sending them out to get a work permit? What am I doing? Whereas this development centre kind of does all that. It's everything's in there. It keeps an eye on those top prospect youths. We've got the addition of the loan manager, who will decide whether a player should go out on loan, where they should go out on loan. So there's lots of little bits in there where it's all grouped together. Another thing that I added in the blog post was, for old time players like me that are used to seeing you under or your reserves in your youth team on the actual sidebar, you have to go into the development centre now to find it. So, it probably took me about 5 minutes to find where are my reserves and where's my youth team. That's where they are.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, it tidies up that sidebar a little bit. Obviously, moving two of those little options, but they're all on there now. I'm not sure if you had too much of a play with the development centre, Joe. There was certain little aspects which I like the look of. Next to the players' names and their squad they're in, there's a little graph, like a little bar, and it'll either sort of have an upward slope, a downward slope, or sort of stay in the middle. And that basically says how well they are getting on their loan spell, if they're improving as a player, if they're sort of not really getting anywhere, or if they're actually sort of not performing and not improving as a player. Well, you can actually click that graph and it shows you the sort of line of their progression, and you can select you can then select certain attributes that you want to see how they've improved on it during the time. Just say for argument's sake, you got a striker who's sort of on and up, doing really, really well on his loan currently. You can actually go onto that player's graph and then select finishing and see how much his finishing has improved. And how long it's taken him to do that and so on. So there's nice little features like that. You can have certain attributes selected at once, so you've got a few different lines across the screen. But it's a really, really nice addition. And as you say, Joe, it's tidied that up a little bit. You've got your under 18s and under 23s both in there. And of course, you did touch on the new staff roles. I'll probably pass over to you on those because I know you know a little bit more about them. So you got sort of head of play development and what was dubbed the technical director, but is now the loan manager.
Well, no, the technical director's still there. And,
right, okay.
And you have a loan manager as
well.
So,
sorry, okay.
Yeah. So the two new staff roles, technical director and loan manager. The technical director looks after the hiring and firing of the first team staff, involved in coaching, development, works with your coaches to plan training schedules if they're given that responsibility. I will say responsibilities, which I'm sure you'll get onto in a minute, Dave, has had a bit of an overhaul. I think, again, another page that when you go on, there is a lot of information to kind of take in there. And with the loan manager, as I said previously, the loan manager will decide which players will go on loan, where they go, provide feedback through the development centre on how they're doing away from the club. So depending on how you play the game, if you're hands-on or you're hands-off, the responsibilities side of it now, there's so much that you can do, but these two new roles, they kind of feel like it's their first year. So I think there's going to be a lot more added to them as we go into like FM21, FM22. Obviously, don't know that, but it feels with those roles at the moment that they can definitely be built on. And they're a massive part of football now. I mean, we spoke about your club, Dave, and you knew who their loan manager was. Yeah, so it's like we know it's in the game in real life. So like Football Manager, if it's in the game in real life, they'll want it in their game. So it's something that's in there now, and they'll certainly develop that, I think, as the future editions come out.
Yeah, and of course with the backroom improvements overall, you've got more advice as well. So rather than just a quick pick on the screen, you've got selection advice. So your assistant, or you can select any member of staff, whether they're a coach or what have you, and they could pick or give you advice on a team selection and then little reasons on why they'd pick those players. I think I tried that out on the first PSG video, which should be dropping soon. And of course, I think they teased that anyway, or showed that off as one of the headline features anyway. So we knew that one was coming. But as you say, the sort of responsibilities tabs as well. I think that's a little bit more prominent in the news items. I'm not sure if you saw that, like press conferences and stuff. Before you actually go into a press conference, it says responsibilities down the bottom, and you can sort of select which staff member does which things as well. So you can choose whether to, on that screen, whether to go into press conferences. I think it's a new signing press conference and tunnel interviews as well. So it's sort of more in front of you, that side of things anyway. Joe, we're going to move on now to more of the graphic enhancements really. So the match engine, and of course the sort of, I'm going to talk about it first, the manager sort of graphics as well. So logging into the game for the first time, Joe, obviously being greeted by this sort of manager appearance, I don't know if it's just me, but straight away you could tell what a huge difference that was from FM19 to FM20.
100%, Dave. I know you was a big admirer of what you can do with the manager now. Yeah. I think you was a big fan of the headband, but yes, you can see that like just in FM19 you see the manager man and his arms were about 4 foot long, so it was.
Yeah.
I think you can see that the kind of whole structure of the body, the anatomy of the the player or the manager or whoever it is has changed, and it just looks a little bit tighter. Everything kind of looks truer to real life.
I agree with that.
Everything fits a little bit better. It just looks tidier when you open the game. The UI itself looks cleaner, sharper. And as I say, as you go into the match side of it as well, obviously the build that we played lovely. We didn't have. It was smooth. You can definitely tell the animations have improved. Some of the player movements definitely looked different. There's so many different things. I mean, one thing that I like is pitch textures, and I know that sounds a bit sad, but I think they've done an absolutely fantastic job with the pitch textures. We could see pitch deterioration as the guys are kind of running around and cutting the pitch up. You can see it in the game, and it just there's lots of small little details that are just going to make this feel a little bit nicer. And we've spoken, and we spoke to the guys there about it feeling like it's a refreshed version of last year. They've put so much into this that 19 wasn't a bad game. So anything they've done, they're just making a good or a great game even better. And certainly playing it just everything felt smoother.
Yeah, I'd agree, and you see straight away the graphical improvement of the 3D match engine. Now, the 3D match engine is probably something that gets the most stick on Football Manager. I think a huge proportion of players are expecting some sort of FIFA type match engine on FM, which in theory is never going to happen. I think Football Manager are cautious. They want to cater for the people with your lower end laptops or your laptops in general. Most laptops would not be able to cope with a FIFA type match engine in the game, but this year is by far the best match engine. You've got to bear in mind as well. Me and Joe were playing on a version. They were talking about it. They've already had 6 match engine versions or 6 versions of the game since the version we played on. That's how often they're improving the game, and you'll see on most of the gameplay that's probably on top of me talking now. It is very nice, it's smooth, but there's always going to be improvements. So again, if you see anything or see any little things that you think, oh, that's not quite right, the chances are they're going to be fixed. So they're working on it continuously. Again, in the beta, let us know your thoughts on the match engine, what you guys think of it as well. But if there is anything that you come across, definitely report it as a bug, because
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
If it's there and you think that doesn't look right, report it. It's literally there'll be a button on the sidebar that will let you report the bug. Go on the forums, be as constructive as you can be. And if you just go on there saying fix the game, you're going to be ignored. Try to be helpful. If you want to play this game and you want it to be the best it can be, give them as much help as possible.
And as you say, there's not many games of this stature as well that allow you to play an early access or like the beta version of a game. And so the fact that Sports Interactive are letting us do that is huge, and it's only right. In return, we sort of help them out, and of course we can continue to make this the biggest and best game. But Joe, I think that is all. We've spoken about some of the key features, unless there is anything else that you want to add onto the conversation.
No, I think we've got everything there. I mean, there's playing time pathway. If no one has seen it, that was one of the headline features, and obviously that would be something interesting. You can improve the players, as I say, playing time pathway, whether it's a player coming up through the ranks, whether it's a player coming down the ranks. It'll give you the opportunity to hopefully manage morale better through expectations in their contracts. Yeah, that's all I've got to add, Dave.
Yeah. Of course. Well, I'll put some footage over the screen now whilst Joe's talking there. Signing players, you can put that in sort of the sort of what used to be sort of promises. So the early contract negotiations, you could tell them straight away what sort of squad role they're going to be having for the sort of the next 3 or 4 seasons. So straight away they've got a vision in their head, and this is again that the add to the quality of life side of things in the game. and add to the sort of club vision long term. Just everything that, like Joe said earlier, is going to increase and enhance the longevity of the game. So I think that is something that we're really going to be looking forward to, and hopefully it will continue to make FM20 the best game yet. So as I said earlier, big thanks to Sports Interactive and Football Manager for letting me and Joe and plenty of other content creators have early access to the game and record some little bits. So on this video today, you would have seen some little pieces of gameplay and screenshots and so on that we took over the weekend. And of course, there's going to be plenty of content coming out from me, whether that be a little PSG save that I'm doing, or little videos like this, or maybe a few other little pieces. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below of what you've seen so far, whether it be from us or other creators. Joe, your little pieces, where can people find you and all of your content as well that's going to be coming out?
So the first pieces of content that will be coming out will be on WeStreamFM.com. I'll be at FridayNightFM.com, Friday Night FM on Twitter and Instagram, where we'll be dropping a few bits. But yeah, it's been great to be invited to it, and I'm glad that we're getting to show you kind of the first looks at Football Manager 20.
Perfect. Joe, thanks for coming on, man. As I say,
welcome, mate.
Yep. Check out Joe's links. I'll make sure I leave them in the link in the description down below, and hopefully you guys can hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Plenty of FM20 content coming up, and hopefully we'll see Joe on the channel soon again. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all very, very soon.
See you next time.